XRP holders, listen up. In this video, we're going to break down and expose the connections that Ripple has to major players like BNY Mellon, JP Morgan, and the list goes on. You don't want to miss it. On top of that, we're going to talk about what the SEC released on the September 30th that's going to make a big impact on the ability for XRP and the XRP ledger to become fully adopted. Then also on October 15th, we have a meeting from the SEC that is going to change everything from that point forward. So do not miss it. Hang out, sit back, and dive in with me as we expose Ripple and the connections that they have. Okay, so let's dive into Ripple and let's expose who they're really connected with and how they tie to the SEC and how they perfectly seem to align each news statement as they come out one after another. But let's start with this letter here from September 30th from the SEC. It is called the Simpson, Thacher, and Bartlett LLP. I'm not going to have you go through all this and read it because it is quite extensive, but essentially what this is saying is the SEC is giving the local and state banks the right to custody crypto. As long as they do it appropriately, they're good to go. That's important because Ripple is filing for their trust bank license, which this will help open those doors for, but also it will help bring more money into the market, more liquidity into the market, because now banks and investors are getting a step further green light. It's okay to hold crypto assets now. So more money will be pumped into the market. So let's move on from there and let's start talking about Ripple and tying them into the major old school traditional banks. But to do that first, we must start with the RLUSD stablecoin. So why is this important? So the RLUS stablecoin is being held by Standard Custody. The issuer of RLUSD is chartered and supervised by NYDFS as a limited purpose trust company, which means our stablecoin is required to be backed 100% by highly liquid, short-term, transparent reserves. Standard Custody adheres to the high safety and soundness standards, including NYDFS, customer protection and reserve requirements, as well as redemption with strict SLAs. So essentially, the RLUSD is going to be highly used and highly sought after because it is backed by the NYDFS. So it's going to give institutions the comfortability to use it because they know they are fully regulated and fully backed up, which is massive because that's what they want out there. They don't want to get sued and they don't want to get any kind of marks against them. But let's look at Standard Custody, and this is where we're going to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together with Ripple and who they truly are. So the Standard Custody board of director, we have Jack McDonald. Jack McDonald is also the senior vice president of stablecoins for Ripple. So now you have Jack McDonald working for Standard Custody and also Ripple. So if you'll notice, Ripple is becoming much like a BlackRock in the sense that they are going to use subsidiary companies to run their product, just as BlackRock does. And we can see that with Hidden Road acquisition and also Standard Custody partnership, okay? And I don't want to waste your time, but I will leave the link in my description as I always do. The rest of these people here are also tied to major companies like JP Morgan, BNY Mellon, Stanley Morgan. All these big banks are these people are from those old banks, okay? They're switching over to Ripple. They are seeing the new wave technology. They left the old companies, went to Ripple. So now you have the old system working with the new system. And this is where that plan is unfolding. They are all coming together and they're all working together. As I said in my last video, it's one giant club and we're just not in it. This is all finally planned and finally tuned. So don't let them try to shake you out and say, well, I don't know if this is going to happen. It's going to happen. They are making this happen. It is the plan. Okay, guys. But let's look at the SEC, what's happening October 15th. Right here, you'll see that DC FinTech week of 2025, October 15th, 2025. So what is this and who's going to be there? I'm not going to go through the agenda. Again, the link will be in my description to go through it because it is very fascinating. And when you understand what this meeting is and what this is going to do for the market and what this is going to really open up, you will see the bigger picture here. And pay attention to these people's names and the companies they work for and what their titles are, because when you get this powerhouse together, they are in here to do business. They're in here to change the way we go about business going forward. I'm trying to simplify that, okay, guys? But we have Paul Atkins, Chairman, the U.S. SEC, Bank of England, Citi, But then we also have the FDIC acting chairman, of course, CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse himself is going to be here. Apollo Global Management. And then we have Zero Hash, AWS, Hester Pierce, the commissioner of the US SEC, MicroStrategy, president of Securitize is going to be here, which if you know about Securitize, you know they have strong connections to BlackRock. So essentially you have BlackRock in this meeting via Securitize. Huge. In the same room with Ripple, guys. Then we'll keep going. We have NASDAQ, FINRA, Gates Foundation. That's Bill Gates Foundation. Then we also have Custodia Bank. Then we have Ryan Rugg. She is the global head of digital assets for Citi's Treasury and Trade Solution. So that is huge for Citi to be a part of this. Then Fireblocks, Move, Robinhood, Chainlink, and Circle. So we have Circle, Chainlink, Robinhood, Ripple, all in the same room working with our governmental bodies. Huge news, and this is going to be a huge outcome from this. So stay tuned and pay attention to that, because you're going to see that the timing of October 15th happens to line up with everybody's expectations of spot ETFs coming on the back half of October. Again, pay attention to Ripple being a part of something and then major news coming from that. They are setting the policies, they are setting the standards, and they have done it from day one. And this is just one example of that. Now let's look over at Ripple's leaders. So you already know who Brad Garlinghouse is, and you know Davis Schwartz. Davis Schwartz worked for the NSA, then also worked on Bitcoin. That's huge in itself. And then let's keep going. Stuart Otterati, let's check him out. It's important to understand his background because, again, the connections he has. And if you're in business, you know once you leave one company, you still have good friends and ties to the old company in which you left, right? So where is he coming from? What's his experience? It says he has 30 years of legal experience in the role of expertise in financial services and regulatory affairs. He's been general counsel and a part of the executive leadership teams at CIT Group, HSBC North America, Holdings. Stewart was also managing counsel at American Express, where he had served on the leadership team of the president CEO of American Express customer card business. So we have ties to HSBC, CIT Group, and American Express via Stuart Otterati. Big names, guys. And then Kirsten. Kirsten is actually working with the likes of AOL, Yahoo, Oracle, and Salesforce, additionally Ancestry.com, and then Dropbox. Again, major names, major corporations. Then let's keep on going down. You know who Chris Larson is. He's the co-founder of Ripple. But this lady right here, I just want to kind of point out, she is the co-founder and principal, along with former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, former National Security Advisor Stephen Haley, and former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates and Rice. So she is coming from the U.S. government. The list goes on from there. But let's keep reading. We'll see that Miss Manuel was an attorney at Wilmer Hale, working on corporate governance, international and Supreme Court cases, represented special committees of major corporate boards before the U.S. Congress, Department of Justice, and the SEC. So she is very, very well versed in law, and she has deep connections to our United States government. Then right here, Sandy, the same thing. You're going to see that she is retired as the Chief Regulatory Affairs Officer for JP Morgan. Then she also has ties to, we'll keep on going down here. Let me find my spot. She has Federal Reserve's Board Alternative Reference Rates Committee and has a former member of the Treasury Markets Practices Group, sponsored by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. She now serves on a task force on financial stability and on the FDIC Resolution Advisory Committee. She is the director of Bank of New York Mellon Corporation and Terex Company. So again, now we have more ties to bigger banks. And Rosie Rios, of course, you know who Rosie Rios is. She was the 43rd Treasurer of the United States and the CEO of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing and the Mint, U.S. Mint. So over Treasury and over the people who print the money, okay? And I'm not going to go through the rest, but you will see that they're all tied to either some kind of governmental entity or some kind of entity of the old financial system. So when I tell you that they're all connected, this is all a big plan. Don't let them fool you. This is what I'm talking about. They have deep connections. Ripple has a very deep connection to the financial system. And not only that, they have deep connections to our US government through various branches, okay? So they know what they're doing. They're not going anywhere. This is very much a planned revolution to change our financial system. This is all planned. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them shake you out. Now let's tie into what we're talking about, XRP and the XRP ledger using the multi-purpose token, or the MPT. Why this is important is because it's one more step forward to becoming a more functional ledger for financial institutions. And another hint of this, of course, is that we have David Schwartz stepping down from the XRP and XRP ledger and now just sitting on the board of directors for Ripple. He's essentially in retirement giving advice for Ripple, but that's a sign that XRP and the XRP ledger is good to go. He's done his work. He's put his time in. His baby's now good to go and grow on its own. That is a huge signal that it is coming around the corner. And when you tie all this together and all these connections and all these meetings together, you will see that it is perfectly aligned timing. It's never a coincidence when we're talking about trillions and quadrillions of dollars. So now let's look at this post from Rupert. He is the host of All In Crypto. If you don't know Rupert, phenomenal source, great technical analyst, amazing guy to follow. So please do so if you want to learn more. It says, Ripple's multi-purpose token white paper has been released showcasing how MPT can be used for institutional grade finance, allowing users to issue and trade real-world assets without the need for smart contracts. So that is huge because if you know Ethereum released a smart contract in 2017. So a smart contract is essentially becoming obsolete, in my opinion, with something like an MPT coming out. It's more advanced. It's what the financial institutions are going to work with. They want very simple, straightforward, streamlined product to work with. And that's what XRP Ledger is doing with the multi-purpose token, okay? So you're going to hear it directly from them. This is from the XRP Ledger's website explaining what a multi-purpose token is. 1 minute long. Please don't go anywhere. It is very valuable information you want to be aware of.
We're talking about multi-purpose tokens, or MPTs. MPTs are a new token standard on the XRP Ledger designed to represent real-world assets with the flexibility institutions need. MPTs combine the simplicity of fungible tokens with the ability to customize with specific data or rules. That means you can embed rich metadata like expiry dates, ownership rules, or terms directly into the token. Real-world assets aren't all the same. Two bonds might look identical, but if one matures next week and the other next year, you need a way to tell the difference. MPTs include embedded controls like freeze, clawback, and non-transferability. These features make it possible to tokenize sensitive or regulated assets while staying compliant.
Okay, so you can see why the MPT is going to be very valuable for the financial system and for these financial companies. This is going to be a game changer, and pay attention to the timing. We have September 30th, SEC giving the green light for local state banks to custody crypto. Then we have October 15th, we have the DC Fintech Week, where all these major crypto companies are coming together with our governmental bodies to discuss crypto assets. And then also you have David Schwartz stepping down as the CTO of XRP, Ripple. And then now you have them releasing on October 1st, the MPT. So this is huge. This is giving another green light that the whole ecosystem for Ripple is being activated. That is the bigger picture. Ripple is being activated. If you watched my video from yesterday, we touched on the ISO 20022 piece of it coming from Ripple directly and from ISO stating that this product, this technology cannot be in full scale until the rest of the world is on this technology. That is when it's fully optimized. So we know that we have that letter coming out September 30th, the 15th, the DC FinTech Week, MPTs coming out. And then also now fast forwarding to November, we have the Swift ISO 20022 going live, and everybody must be on ISO's network going forward, or ISO's messaging system, going forward. Then also it's very important to note that at November 3rd through the 4th, you have Ripple Swell. So all this is perfectly aligned coming out towards the end of the year, just as we thought they would. And once all this information gets put together and is released and fully activated, you are about to see something crazy. The timeline falls perfectly with what we think altcoin season is going to be. And we all think that altcoin season this year is going to be insane. If you're seeing the stack coming at you, you understand why that's possible. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. If you did, please definitely leave a like, share it with a friend, leave a comment. It is huge to share this video. It's much appreciated on my end, so I know that people appreciate the work. So that's all I have for you at this video. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. But before I'll let you go, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and become the change you want to see. See you on the next one.